You feel the surge before it arrives. Your pulse quickens, your breath hitches, and the electric charge of your own emotions coils like lightning in your veins. You've learned to fear the storm within, its thunderous outbursts, its torrential downpours of grief, its wild winds of rage. You've sought to calm it, to evacuate its fury, to bunker down behind the walls of stoic composure. But storms carry the power to reshape landscapes, to flood the banks of stale complacency, to cleanse the air for new growth. Today, you will learn to harbor this storm inside you, to welcome its intensity as the catalyst for your own transformation. You close your eyes and let the tension in your shoulders loosen, inviting the storm's first gust to pass through you. You lean into the electric crackle behind your ribs, feeling it swallow the stale hush of routine. You inhale deeply, tasting the ozone of possibility on your tongue, and you say to yourself, "I am the vessel for this storm." In that admission, you stop resisting and begin to ride its energy. You open your eyes and stand in an empty room or open field, arms loose at your sides. You feel the first whisper of wind inside you, a prelude of the gusts to come. You raise your arms, allowing your fingers to splay and catch the invisible currents. You imagine the storm swirling around you, not outside but within, every emotion a droplet in its dense clouds. You let the wind lift your hair, tease your clothes, stir your senses. You let yourself tremble in its draft, recognizing that every quiver is a declaration of being alive. You step forward, planting your feet firmly as though grounding lightning rods. You feel the storm's full wind hit you, your doubts, your fears, your old grievances, buffeting you in a powerful gale. You do not brace against it. You lean into the blast, arms outstretched like wings, letting the tempest sculpt you. You welcome the ache of each gust, letting it remind you of what you carry, the longing you've repressed, the anger you've denied, the heartbreak you've buried. You pivot into the wind and let it swirl you on your axis. You breathe with each turn, finding a rhythm in the storm's wild pulse. You discover that when you lean into your emotions rather than shut them down, they lose their power to batter you. They become the force that propels you forward. You feel the tension of old regrets loosen as the storm's breath rushes through. You let your hands trace patterns in the air. Figures of anger become arcing lightning bolts you direct onto the invisible canvas. Grief becomes torrential raindrops you release in controlled bursts. Passion becomes a roaring gust you harness to lift your spirit. You transform each wild element of your inner weather into an act of creation. You raise your voice to the wind and let it merge with your exhale, a primal sound that shatters the hush of suppression and calls you home to yourself. You tire of this wild dance only when your knees begin to buckle, and you slow the storm's spin into a gentle swirl. You cup your hands together and catch the last drops of thunder in your palms, those final tremors of emotion that pulse like embers. You draw them to your chest and feel their heat warm your bones. You stand in the eye of this inner tempest, feeling calm not because the storm has ceased, but because you've made peace with its power. You carry this practice forward in your daily life. When a wave of anger surges at an insult, you breathe in its charge and ask, "What truth is this wind carrying?" You might discover it carries your boundary being crossed, your value being undermined. You let that insight steer your response rather than react from blind fury. You become a captain on your own rough sea. When grief floods your heart at loss, you open your arms to its deluge and ask, "What gift does this rain reveal?" Perhaps it uncovers the depth of your love, the richness of your loyalty, the capacity of your heart to hold what matters. You let those revelations water your future roots rather than drown you in despair. When passion ignites within you, a fierce desire to create, to connect, to break free, you let its gale drive you toward action. You ask, "Where will I sail on this wind?" You chart a course toward your next bold step, a conversation you've feared, a project you've delayed, a dream you've let slip. You set your sails to the gust of passion and you move. Each time you face your inner storm, you grow more adept at harboring it. You learn when to let the winds howl at full gale and when to curve your hands to channel them into a steady breeze. You discover that storms need time to gather, time to release, time to settle, and you honor that cycle within yourself. You practice weathering and you practice sailing, becoming both observer and navigator of your own wild skies. You mark your growth by the calm you feel in the storm's eye, the still center where you stand unshaken by the swirling forces around you. You recognize that harboring your storm is not a momentary act, but a lifelong relationship, a dance between your fiercest emotions and your steadied core. You close this practice by closing your eyes and placing one hand over your heart, the other extended as if still guiding the wind. You whisper your vow, "I will harbor the storm within and let it forge my strength." You feel the thunder echo in your bones, the lightning light your purpose, the rain wash you clean. You step back into the world, carrying your storm as both harbinger and guide, no longer afraid of its fury, but trusting in its power to shape your becoming.